What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Panty and Stocking Season 2. This is also the last two episodes because they decided to put like two episodes out, which makes sense considering what's in the episodes. But yeah, with me as always, I have Blue Spade.
Um, well, before okay, so the first part was like just I guess it's a separate skit on its own. It's more of a Christmas skit in which okay, so Santa Claus apparently injures himself while having sex with Panty, and then okay. First off, like it just doesn't look like Santa Claus. It's just some guy, like like
Yeah,
he just has like just a regular like blonde or brown haired beard and something like that. Who just wears a Santa Claus costume. But yeah, but now he tasks knee socks to deliver presents in his place, and of course knee socks reluctantly takes the job and then just delivers presents all around, uh, and then of course like knee socks attends like the Christmas party with everybody else, and then Santa as thanks gives knee socks a bunch of tickets to go to this amusement park called Lingerie Land, which which of course Brief plans to you know to go with Panty and the others. Well, specifically confesses love to Panty in a way, which in turn gets us into the next episode following this, which Panty and Stocking's parents summon them to heaven, apparently inviting everybody else, with the exception of Brief, who gets shot down by what was it by Panty by just simply telling the guards that he's just some random geek. Uh, so
yeah,
okay, so Panty and Stocking meet their parents, and apparently the reason why they call them there is so they can take their place to rule over heaven because of some weird, I don't know, affair or scandal that's involving the two of them. And then, of course, the sisters like well, they turned him down, saying like that's it's such a ridiculous thing that they have to do something like this. And then all of a sudden, their uncle, I think it was Raimi, with his sons, which is the Angel brothers, which is his sons, claims the throne for himself, tricking his brother into naming him the successor by saying, just saying like something is as a technicality, like just recording his voice in a way, just like to make some kind of binding agreement to make him, the new ruler of heaven or God or something like that. And then he turns both
yeah,
of them into statues before supposedly destroying them. And of course, he also traps Penny and Stocking, Garterbelt, and the Demon Sisters as prisoners, and of course, um, and then the Penny and Stocking are shocked to see their parents being blown to bits. And then, of course, we get to the next episode, which is of course considered two separate skits. Which what's funny is like each of those three skits are named after like the first three episodes of the Star Wars
yeah,
prequel trilogy.
yeah,
Um, so the second skit is what was it? Raimi, like what was it? He's planning to start a war against Hell. So he uses like this huge like bridge to go all the way down to Hell, and then they of course Garterbelt and Demon Sisters get knocked out into heaven and slide into Hell itself, while of course Garterbelt tries to persuade the sisters to help them out, like just basically just saying like all the things that they've done while they hung out together throughout the entire season, which I mean I couldn't really say.
it kind of has the opposite effect, sort of, which it just kind of makes them like sort of pissed off at Penny and Stocking for how they treated
Yeah.
them the whole
So
time.
yeah, that in the way convinces them to go back into heaven, and then you know to take the fight back back to Raimi. While at the same time, Brief and Chuck are trying to reach heaven, but he goes back to his friend, the black was it
The
the
gunsmith bitch.
gunsmith girl, and then like he uses some kind of like special drug, which like I guess in a way it kills him so he can get his spirit into heaven. Under the condition that like he gets back into his own body, otherwise he'll be dead permanently. But
Also, Garter used the same, like I guess that potion too to try to get back into heaven,
yeah,
but he ends up going to hell.
yeah, and then what else? And also like uh what was it? The sisters also turn into stone by that end of the skit, and then we get into the final skit in which um they finally confront Garterbelt and the Demon Sisters and Brief confront Raimi, just pretty much like getting ready to to free Penny and Stocking, but they both get turned into stone and supposedly they get shattered into pieces. But then all of a sudden, out of I mean, with no explanation, like Penny and Stocking are fine from that, and then they
Well, it's revealed that the reason why they weren't affected was because they got reborn on Earth, and they're not like, I guess they're technically not like they're not like heavenly angels anymore or something like that,
it's
so they can't be
yeah,
affected.
it's relating to something that happened. Well, obviously what happened at the beginning of the season, with
Yeah.
supposedly those two being dead. Yeah, they do get technically killed in a way before being brought back in some form or fashion. So yeah, so everybody else like gets into their like enhanced form. I don't know how you really could call their forms, but
Also, I didn't realize that I guess the Demon Sisters have some other like, it almost, I don't know what you call this thing. Like it's kind of like Chuck, but it's like it looks like a sock puppet
yeah,
creature.
it's
Um,
more similar to Chuck in a way, which like both
yeah,
Chuck and like the Demon Sisters equivalent to that end up transforming into their enhanced forms, and then like they end up like defeating Raimi and the Angel Brothers. Uh, but at the same time, like without them looking or checking, like they what was it? Raimi like has the his statue or like one of the statues uh being slid down into hell so it can be destroyed. Uh, so everybody else like slides down to follow it to destroy the statue before ends up destroying hell, and then that's apparently how they win the battle. And then all of a sudden, Penny and Stocking's parents end up coming back to life somehow, and then they retake their place as rulers of heaven. And then of course,
yeah.
and then everybody else celebrates. Well, and of course, as for Raimi and the Angel Brothers, instead of being punished, they end up going on vacation together. Um, so yeah, I mean, I thought it's surprising like they didn't really get any real consequences for their actions, so they just just decide to just go out on the road.
I I guess maybe they're like banished from heaven and they have to live on Earth or something.
Possibly,
But
I mean, they
I
didn't
don't know.
really. I don't know. They didn't really explain all that well. So yeah, Penny, Stocking, Brief, and the others like they go to the lingerie land and have fun. Um, while Brief finally confesses his love to Panty, and she actually accepts, and then
That's the most surprising part, to be honest. Like considering it seemed like just a running joke that Brief was never gonna get with Panty, and she would always just kind of she never really looked at him like that.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess, like you said, yeah, I guess it worked out because, well, okay, so at the very end of the episode, like the lingerie land is like, I guess like the ground opens up, and I think that yeah, the devil comes over the devil's hand and just like drags both uh Brief and Patty. It looks like drags them down to hell or something.
yeah,
Um,
and which
yeah.
shocks everybody. Out of and of course, and then some for whatever reason, it gets into this weird time skip at the end of the episode in which
Yeah.
which Stalking becomes the new priest of the home, and then she's looking over like okay, so I had to look over this like at least several times to know what happened. So it looks
I mean, okay, we know who the we know I guess who the kid, yeah, who the one kid is, like, or who I guess that he's related to. The other demon kid though, it was just a demon person, so I don't know. I mean, maybe they just don't explain it. I guess maybe like Nisox or Scanty like got with somebody and had a kid. I don't know, but
yeah. So
yeah, because it's like a demon.
yeah, I mean, I could assume like the son is Panty and Brief's son because we see
Yeah, well,
pictures.
yeah, because we see the
Yeah, we
pictures.
see them. Uh, well, first off, they don't really explain how the hell they got out of hell in the first place. Um, but apparently,
Yeah, it is weird because like they ended on that cliffhanger, and I guess I don't know. I guess we're just to assume that during that time skip they somehow escaped. But then what's also weird is that, of course, like right after the scene we get the basically saying it's to be continued and there's going to be another season. So I thought the next season was going to be like, okay, well, how we're going to find out how they have to, how they get out of hell. But maybe that, I don't know, that could be the next season still, but it's just kind of weird. Like maybe it's going to follow up on that like time skip thing where we're going to follow these new characters, and like Stalking is taking the place of Garter.
yeah,
So I don't know. I guess it could be either one. Like maybe the season will start where it flashes back and we see how they got out of hell, and then like maybe it picks up on after like what happens in the time skip.
yeah.
But
It's
yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't know. It's like yeah. I mean, yeah. I really wish we could have gotten a little bit more context with what happened, but it seems like yeah, it seems like they're gonna move on with a new set of characters out of nowhere. I mean, I don't know like how these two new characters are really gonna, I don't know, step up to like, take the place of Panty and Stocking in a way, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be like, I don't know, because Fanny and Stocking are kind of almost the selling points of the show. So I mean, it's gonna be really weird, like following like different characters.
Yeah.
They could still be involved, but yeah, I don't know. But overall, like, yeah, I thought the season was actually pretty good. I enjoyed all like the crazy, segments or all the references that were thrown in. That was pretty cool, and I mean, it did kind of at least follow up on the, I guess you'd say, the overarching story at the end of it, which was, I thought it was pretty good for what it was. I mean, I still need to, like, honestly, now I kind of want to go back and just watch the original series, but now I definitely feel like I have a better understanding of what it's about. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad there's going to be another season, I guess, because I wasn't sure if that's what they were going to do at the end of this season, or if this was just going to be like, a follow up to an older show, and then they weren't going to continue with like another new season after this. But yeah, I mean, I will say it's kind of an interesting direction. I guess they're going to go. I suppose with the new season, if we're going to take, what happens, or if considering what happens in the time skip at the end of the episode.
I mean,
Um, so
assuming if it's not going to take another 15 years to make another fucking season.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, it's so yeah, overall I also did enjoy this season. Like I was also glad that they decided to follow up on that cliffhanger from back in season 1. What I do question is like how are they going to follow up with this for season 3 if they are going to follow up with this
yeah.
new set of
I
characters.
think they're taking kind of a big risk to introduce these new characters, and I maybe supposedly have Panty and Stocking almost take a backseat for the new
Yeah.
season. If
I mean,
I don't
unless
know.
they are gonna do a storyline to really explain how the hell Penny and Brief escaped.
Yeah, I feel like the beginning of the next season should at least be explaining like what happened in between that, because it just feels like it's just kind of like I mentioned, it's kind of weird how it just kind of flashes forward, and all of a sudden, like, I suppose it's like years later and they, we see their kids.
Yeah, or a
So
kid or something like
yeah,
that. I mean,
yeah,
we have to
yeah.
know like what this demon kid is about and like who like
That's what my biggest question is like who's the demon kid related to?
yeah
Um,
yeah
yeah, but honestly, like I guess overall, I'd give the season an 8. Like it was pretty good. Um, I mean, I hear good things about the old series, so I'll probably need to go back and watch that. But yeah, I really liked it. It was pretty funny. It was actually, pretty, like, pretty hilarious for the most part. And I mean, it's kind of a different art style, and it does take a little bit of getting used to. But I do like how they mess around with that too, where there's like there'll be episodes where they just do a like drastically different art style, and I mean it works considering just how I guess kind of random the series can be at times, and it kind of makes sense that they just kind of switch between different art styles.
It's just overblown fun in a way. It's just it's like you're not really there to take the whole thing too seriously. You're just there to just enjoy what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you should really be taking it seriously.
Yeah,
at all.
you're just there to see like what kind of ridiculous thing that they're just gonna throw at you at any given moment. I mean, but yeah, I'm glad they at least they did have like an overarching plot, which kind of did spread out every few episodes. I mean, it's just they just do a lot of stuff that spoofs or references a lot of like all the other films that they've that people have watched over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised at some of the references that were in there. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it though. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
Overall, it is fun, but yeah, I still do have to question like whether or not like this idea of like a new set of characters will. I don't know how they're going to stack up to Penny and Stocking themselves. I mean, it's possible that they will address the whole Penny and Brief escaping hell sort of thing, but in terms of like following up with new cast of characters, that's going to be another question entirely. And plus, we don't even know when they're going to be releasing season 3. Hopefully, it's not going to take another, a decade and a half like it did between the first 2 seasons, but hopefully they'll see we'll see where they go from there.
I feel like a really good idea for the new season, considering they have these new characters, they could like kind of, and also considering how the show is, they could sort of just have it be almost like kind of poking fun at the idea of like sequels continuing years after the fact and having like new characters show up and trying to replace the old ones. Like that could have been kind of like funny way to sort of address it, I guess.
Yeah, that could work. I mean, we'll have to see where that goes in there. But so far there's no, other than like a season 3 announcement, like they haven't really stated like if there's any solid release date for this for the new season.
Yeah, well, like you said, hopefully it's not like 15 years after the season comes out. But yeah, that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.